The word is heal, to restore to health or soundness, to restore to spiritual wholeness. God is the Lord thy God that healeth. We are all in a state of needing to be healed. It could be from broken relationship, broken heart, financial difficulties, emotional stress, professional downturns, loss of job, spiritual dryness, physical ailments, only to name a few, but you know what ails you at this point in time. Even the past events of last week or even the last minute, we need to be healed from. It is promised in the Word of God that He is the Lord that healeth. He said by His stripes that we are healed from whatever ailments we have. But how do we heal? Well, we must go through a restoration process. Some heal quickly, some take a little more time, but all ailments can heal. There is nothing impossible for God. That restoration process, it brings back to an original state, back to a former position, reconstructs, and sometimes it's even a better state, better than the original. Yes, the process will take time. Have you ever watched someone renovate or restore a house, a room, or even a piece of furniture? Believe me, it didn't happen overnight. One must first assess the damage or the ailment. Then remember how it once was when it was whole and new. Then you have to lay out the plans for creating the steps that will be taken to get it back to its former state or even to a better state. It may require breaking the damaged thing down even more to rebuild or to remold it. It may require some sanding, some sandblasting, maybe even a bulldozer knocking it over. Ooh, that sounds like it hurts. But it helps to smooth out surfaces and prepares the ground for a better foundation and to give a better refinish or break up and down things that are no longer needed to complete the restoration process. So let the process begin. It may be hurtful, may be downright painful, but it's only for a while. It's just for a moment. You are being restored, renovated, brought back to a place where you were whole, or even to a better place where you're healed and you're set free to truly be all that you have been created to be. Receive the healing process. Endure all the tests and be thy healed.
Yes, now's the time to be thy healed. Let the healing begin. There is a season for everything, and now is the season for our land to be healed. So many of us have kind of been in this culture shock for the last 3 years, but now we can breathe again. Now is the time to surrender to healing. Now is the time to come together and unite. Now is the time to sit back and reflect. In my book, Rising Above My Fears on My Wings of Faith, I Now Believe I Can Fly, I have the R7 approach. It's called the Rising 7 approach because it's 7 R's. The first is reflect, to think or consider seriously. Sit back, think or consider seriously where you are, what you need healing from, what's the issue, what's the problem. Then we must recognize, to know, to be something that has been perceived before, to identify or know from previous experience or knowledge, to acknowledge or accept the validity of reality of a situation. So then we must recognize, yes, this did hurt me. This did bewilder me. Yes, I feel like I'm in outer space, or this is the twilight zone. Recognize where you are, what that thing is. Then reject, to throw away, to refuse, or to consider or grant. Then we have to reject the negative part of that thing that enveloped us, that thing that once we recognize the hurt, the pain, then we must reject it. Then we must reassure, and that means to restore confidence. Restore the confidence in knowing the good, the positive, that we have rejected the negative of that thing that we have recognized, that thing that we have reflected and considered, that infiltrated us, that made us hurt, that made us feel that we were not whole. Then we must receive, to gain the knowledge of, to take into the mind by assent, to give permission to accept as an opinion, as a notion to embrace. So once we've gone through the four: reflecting, recognizing, rejecting, reassuring, then we must receive. Received that thing that is positive. A lot of times we get to a point where we are reassured, we believe we have the confidence, but we really haven't received it in our psyche, in our soul, in our spirit. But once we actually grab hold to it, grab hold to that healing, then we should rejoice, to enjoy, delight, exhilarate, triumph. We must then rejoice. We must understand then that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So now that we have that confidence, now that we have received it, and it has pricked our very soul and our spirit, now we rejoice. And the last R is revive, to impart new health, vigor, or spirit, to renew in the mind and to restore to effectiveness, validity, or an operating condition. So once we are healed, we are revived. And we can move forward in the notion that all is well. Again, be thy healed. Now I also pray, God, please heal our nation, heal our land.